Hi Rishab, thanks for taking up the time and spending it with us to impart some words of wisdom to our viewers on entrepreneurship, your journey, and sort of giving some words of wisdom away, right? So we'll start with absolutely. So let's start with your introduction, a bit of you, about you, your background. So you want to just share that with us?
So I'm the curator and CEO of Envisage Global, and also the ex-delegate of Harvard Project for Asian International Relations, and also a Global Youth Ambassador from a World at School. So I started off, I think about almost 4.5 years back, and that was with Abdul sir, Deepak sir, Kishore sir, when they were starting up Stock Market Institute, and that's when I was just an intern, and I started off doing things right from data entry to marketing and sales and presentations and managing teams, and things escalated from there.
Right.
And
Escalated in a good way.
and it was a different experience for me altogether, because it wasn't pressure for me in terms of family wise or professional wise, because I was just currently studying.
Right.
I was in my first year, and I really wanted to do something different. I wanted to be independent, mostly because I didn't like borrowing pocket money from my parents, and wanted to really stand on my own feet.
Right.
And I really hated it when I took money from my father when I was almost 18 or 19. And I felt that was some kind of an insult to myself, because that was after reading Tinkle Digest, did you know fact that a specific mammal, I don't currently recall that name, that it is independent ever since it is out from its eggshell.
Right.
So the parents of that particular mammal can also eat that up if it doesn't know how to survive.
Right.
In that kind of an environment or that kind of a situation that it comes up to. So I was just thinking that wouldn't be even just about an hour old, and it's already surviving by itself. And I was wondering that we guys are like 18, 19, 25 until we realize that there is something which we can do to really go up there and stand on our own feet.
Right.
And that's when Abdul sir, Deepak sir, and Kishore sir had suggested that we could start up something called as Say No to Dad's Money, Create Your Own Identity campaign. That was one of my first startups out here. Didn't really take off, but gave me a lot of insights on how we need to do product pricing and things as such. So back then it was getting subscriptions from students by paying up close to 100 to 150 rupees.
Right.
And we had about close to 10 to 15 members, and we would place them in different companies for internships. And so it was more of a HR based firm, focused towards internships only, and it did take off well then initially, because I was able to place them in really fancy companies and something which they never dreamt of. I do still have those testimonials verbally, and I can definitely have them to speak for us anytime, because they really like the experience. And then Abdul sir and Kishore sir and Deepak sir had suggested that you should get onto Stock Market Institute, and that's when my I would say urge of knowing more about how we could add value to the education system grew, and the thirst of really seeing that student stand on his feet is what drove us along the way. And we spread financial literacy by creating Stock Market Institute student ambassadors for about a couple of seasons, where we had thousands of students coming in from different parts of Bangalore specifically, but different colleges, and from about 20-30 colleges around there, and then thousands of students coming in, getting interviewed, only with the objective that they could be trained by experts. And then we had speakers coming down from London, we had speakers coming down, we'd work with RBI, with speakers coming down from Sri Krishna Chetty and Sons, where we took them to the jewelry store. We taught them how the gold is melted to the stage of finishing
Final
stage.
product, yeah.
So what happens is when they're learning things via experience is when we believe that they will remember throughout their life. And so the reason why we did that was to help them understand what is the wasted charges which they would go through. Instead of just telling it to them, if they could see it, there's a better tendency for them to remember when they have to buy it for their mom or their wives or etc. etc. So that's the whole thing. And then through that, it just gave me clarity that if we create a lot of these activities and experiential learning exercises, it would broaden their perspective towards their respective careers. And that's when we had this in the back of our minds, and that's when Envisage Global came in, and that was initiated by Deepak and Mufaddal, who had initially taken it off for education trips, and I was invited to join in, and that's how it took off. And then that was about 2.5 years back. This March 28th we'll be touching 3 years.
Wow.
And ever since then, it's been a different journey altogether.
So, wanted to pick your brain on this one topic, right, about an ecosystem. So, what does an ecosystem mean to you personally, and how does that really help an entrepreneur today, more so in today's environment, succeed?
Okay, so the ecosystem means the world to me, firstly. Second is that a lot of my networking and a lot of my contacts or my prospects have been built through the ecosystem. And how was it possible, or why would I suggest it to the upcoming entrepreneurs, is because ecosystem wouldn't necessarily mean within your groups or probably within the incubation center which you work in. It could also mean somewhere outside and through your incubation system itself. For example, there are tons of ecosystems across the globe, and I could give you a few examples. Like there are a few groups on Meetup.com. There are a lot of WhatsApp groups from across the globe. For example, there are groups with Hong Kong entrepreneurs. There are a few groups on New York entrepreneurs,
right.
And you need anything, and you're not asking about something which is more like a tiny little connect. You're talking about getting connected with the UNICEF. You're talking about connecting with Ashoka University. You're talking about connecting with top companies, Fortune 500 companies. All you have to do is just ask.
Right.
And by doing this, the world goes about helping you, supporting you for what you need. With the denominator being that have you really helped people in the past or not, and at the same time how I would say popular you've been in terms of really being there for people, in terms of the face time which you've got with that respective person, in terms of being of any value to that person. So the more you give, the more you get, and that would be possible obviously in any ecosystem which you start off with.
Absolutely.
Be it BNI, be it WhatsApp groups, be it Instagram, be it Meetup groups, be it anything.
And even close to
basket
the
option.
basket option itself, right?
That's where we all started from, and it's something which is a blessing in disguise.
Fantastic. So, I mean, your closing remarks, right? I mean, you have a lot of people out there who want to get into entrepreneurship, who are on the edge, is what I'd like to call them. They want to, but they're not sure. So what would be your sort of imparting thoughts or, remarks to them in terms of why should they get into entrepreneurship, and how do they go about it? And I can say what I'm trying to do is through EOT, Entrepreneurial and Training, is really help facilitate that journey for them. But closing remarks from you as an entrepreneur over the past 5 years, your thoughts on closing remarks.
Answering to the question being why should you get into the field of entrepreneurship, the answer is why shouldn't you? Because for a matter of fact, did you know that you could easily earn close to about 2.5 lakhs by just posting two pictures on Instagram and ensuring that you're engaging a specific group on regular basis?
Really?
I mean, that is possible by anyone who's currently working.
Right.
So entrepreneurship does not necessarily mean that you give up everything in life and you start something by yourself. It could also mean by, you could also do it when you're working.
Yep.
And you could hustle right after 9 to 6, and ensuring that from 6 to 10 or 6 to 11 you're finishing what you really were supposed to do for your family and your commitments, etc. by from 6 to 10, and from 10 to 2 you can go about ensuring that you pursue what you love the most. I know a lot of people who work from Monday to Friday who finish things up quickly from 6:30 to 10 and ensure that from 10 to 2 they complete their side hustle, and on the weekends they ensure that they accelerate it, and they've gone about making lakhs and lakhs of money just by ensuring that they can start side hustling, and then eventually they get on to converting that as their real-time hustle and grow it as a company of their passion, or as per their passion and interest.
Right. Okay. Fantastic. So that's really good to hear from you. I think I want to say thank you for your time. It's precious. So thank you so much, Rishab, curator and founder of Envisage Global. Thanks for your time. It was great having you.